Turn, if you would please, in your Bibles to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. As I thought about the message this morning and how it would be framed for Mother's Day, you know, there are two, well actually one is often used when we talk about mothers, and that's Proverbs 31, about the noble wife or noble woman. Very relevant. It's one that anytime you want to think about how thankful you should be for your spouse, your wife, or a mother, or for younger women who want to know what does it mean to be a godly woman, Proverbs 31 gives a great outline for that. But I also thought about what we really appreciate most about moms. Why do they do what they do? Why do they react and respond to our lives the way they do? And that's just because of their love. And I'm really, if you know moms, I know my mom, and as I watch, my wife, and I'm sure you husbands, you look at your wives with the children and different things, you can't deny that there's something special about a mother's love. In 1 Corinthians 13, the Apostle Paul takes an opportunity to talk about what love is. And always remember there are really three types of love, right? There's what's known as phileo love, which is where we get Philadelphia from, the city of brotherly love. So phileo love is what we would have for friendship one with another. There's eros love. That's that emotional love. It's what makes the heart flutter and you get all hot and you really just, you just love someone and you just feel it all over. That's an eros love. But then there's the one that many people really never get, because as we look in this world, we look at relationships and things, we get the phileo love, we get the agape love, the eros love, but we miss the agape love. That's the love that God has for you. Don't ever forget that. God's love for you is far different than what you see in the world as far as what is demonstrated as love. Those who have, phileo love, that's going to be, I love you when you're doing something for me. That's where the song comes, what have you done for me lately? Okay? That's what you tell your brother or your sister. That's that. Eros love is what happens with a couple who, when they first get together, they say they're in love, but after months or sometimes weeks go by, you hear them. In fact, I've counseled before with, I just don't feel like I love them any longer. Because eros love is a feeling. But agape love, that's a deeper thing. And I want you to always remember, God loves you this much. And he's also given us opportunity of seeing it best in the love that mothers have for their families and for their children. Let's look at it. 1 Corinthians 13, starting in verse 4. Here, Paul, first, if you go back and read verses 1 through 3, he talks about all the things we can do that makes us think we're doing the right thing. All the things that we, say we do that shows that we have really arrived. He says, I don't care how great you are. If you don't have these basic components, you don't have anything at all. Verse 4, love is first of all patient. As I look at this whole concept here, go back when you get a chance and look at Galatians 5:21. Galatians. In Galatians, he talks about the fruit of the Spirit. And what we see here is this love, that this patient love is something that we don't have on our own. It is something that is God-given. It is something that is God-breathed into people's lives. So he says here, love is patient means that never gets worn out. And love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, is not proud, is not rude, is not self-seeking, is not easily angered, and keeps no record of wrongs. Moms have a unique way of being able to do that. I have seen in my own life and in other people I know, where their children continuously go way out in left field. Everybody's saying just be done with it, but that mom can just never let them go. That mom is often just like the father is, for the prodigal son. Always looking, always hoping, always waiting for that one to come home. I've seen. Why are you worried about it? I've been in settings before where it's a gathering and the mom is glad that everybody's there, but her heart's on the one who's not. She's happy everybody's there, but they wanted to be, and they just didn't want to come or whatever. But their heart is always looking for the one that's not there. That's the heart of God. Because the heart of God says, I will leave the 99 to go find the one. Because the 99, they're here. They're okay. But it's the one that's not. That's what's drawing me. That's the heart of God. And we see that in the flesh, the natural person. If maybe you don't do this, but someone's go, why won't they just let that go? That's wrong. That whole mindset is not of God. The heart of God is saying, no, I'm looking to seek and save the one that's what? Lost. The one who's on the outside. That's the one I want to go and get. And that's that love that you only see happening, and it's truly a mother's love. And how can they do this? Because don't miss this again in verse 5. They have this unique ability of keeping no record of wrong. Have you said, maybe you haven't had that happen to you, where you know you were wrong, and you know that they know you were wrong, and you kind of want to come back in, and you wonder if you're going to kind of, what's going to happen, or they're going to forgive you, but yet time and time again, they give you that same acceptance, that same forgiveness, because they've never lost the vision that God has placed in them for you. And every mom has a unique vision for their children. And they know that every child is not the same. But they have a unique way of knowing, loving, and seeing the potential that is placed in each one of their children. And I think of Psalms 139. While you were yet in your mother's womb, every day of your life was preordained. And I submit to you, it may have been a secret to you, but it wasn't a secret to God, and it wasn't a secret to that mom. Because they know the plan that God has. I say this to you often, and I'll say it to you until you get tired of hearing it. When you get tired of hearing it, I'm still going to say it. I'm standing here today because of the vision of my mom. Because she told me as a little boy that you'd be a preacher. As a child, she spoke that in my life. In the 6th and 7th grade, I carried a briefcase. In middle school, I carried a briefcase. Because my mom saw something that I didn't see. As I think about that, and I think about being here, we are here right now because of that vision that my mom had and spoke into my life. And I'm sure you could say the same thing. And I'm here for my wife. Because I was not embracing that vision. I was far from that vision. When she got handed the responsibility of trying to help complete that vision. But the point I'm saying is it all comes from someone seeing something that you may not see in yourself. So while you may go your own way, young people, and you may do your own thing, if you have a mother who's speaking into your life, that which they see as your potential, I only ask you to do one thing. It may not really kind of sit right with you complete, but don't ever write it off. Because God has a unique way of sharing his plan for your life through a mother that loves you. And so therefore he does this, keeping no record of wrong. What do they do? Verse 6. Love does not, see, they don't delight in when you fall. They don't delight in when things don't go right. They don't delight when you make a mistake. They don't say, see, I told you, that's what you get. But they do what? They rejoice with the truth, knowing that you have come out of whatever you have gone through. Verse 7, and I know this stuff. Young adults, 19, 20, 21, 22. Let me tell you something with love. Your mama is always going to be your mama. You may be grown, but she's going to treat you like you're not. Just saying. Mamas never stop being mamas, and their children never stop being their babies. If you don't miss that, if you can understand that, mamas will always be mamas, and the children will always be their babies. Rejoice in that, therefore what? They will always protect. They're always going to tell you, be careful. They're always going to tell you, don't go there and do that. They're always going to tell you, you're grown. You know to put a coat on when it's cold, but they still going to tell you, don't forget your coat. They're going to tell you to lock your doors. They're going to tell you to be careful not to go here. They're going to tell you not to, don't do this and don't do that. And they're not trying to control you, but God designed them to want to protect you. Don't roll your eyes. If you have a mother who's trying to tell you what to do, be thankful, even if you don't do it, because it shows you, it's confirming that she loves you. So every time you say or think, Mom, I'm grown, just remember, she only told you that because out of love, she's designed to want to, as it says, see, it doesn't say verse 7, all protects you. Sometimes, always protects. Always sees the best in you. Be careful with this. Always wants to trust you. Always has, I heard my wife say this about something we was going through this past week. She says, I will always have hope. Women are good at having hope. Some men are. Many men, I'm just done with this. I can't take this. I can't deal with this any longer. I'll get angry and want to do something, I want to do something about it. But women have this unique ability. Hoping. Trusting. Always hopes. Always, because they know that it always perseveres. And verse 8, because they know that love never fails. Paul goes on to say here, though, about other things that may not stand. He says, where there's prophecies. In other words, where there are things that you already got figured out in life. He says, those things will cease. Where there are tongues, where in other words, you can hear all kind of great stories and great opinions in this world in which we live, and you hear all kind of philosophies and ideas. He says, those things will pass away. Verse 9, because everything we do now, we only can see it just a little bit. He says, we know in part. We prophesy in part. Don't miss that. You may have life in your thoughts figured out, young people and older alike, but you don't have it fully understood. It is not fully comprehended. Verse 10. But when perfection comes, speaking of Christ's return, the imperfect disappears. Verse 11. When I was a child, Paul said, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. And I want to encourage mothers of this. One of the things that you can do for your children, as you protect them, as you trust and hope, is to develop them. This is the hard thing. Develop them to lead. You can still hope. You can still protect. But develop them to lead. My wife knows me, and I've got this funny thing. There's on our porch, it's a column. And on that column in the top, there's this area. And this mother bird insists on building this nest every year on this column. And I get all freaked out. I told Matthew the other day, Matthew, go look, see if there's eggs up there yet. There's no eggs, take that nest down. Dad, the eggs are already there. Dang, he's got it. But see, I have this problem because what I can't deal with is watching the birds get kicked out of the nest. I don't mind being there, but I get up, oh, they're gonna get kicked out of the nest, they're gonna fall on the pavement, and Emma, my cat's gonna get them, and it's not gonna work out right. Okay, laugh at me now or laugh at me when I leave. I don't care. I told Marcus, maybe I can put a pillow down there so when if they fall, they won't get hurt when they hit the concrete. But God designed the mother to be able to help the chicks be pushed out of that nest. You see, a father doesn't quite get that, but the mother does. She knows when it's time that they will be able to fly. And every year, while I've seen some dramatic things going on our front porch, they've always left that nest and gone on. And I want to encourage mothers, just like with those birds, love your children. But always, especially as they become adults, develop them, not to stay. Always welcome, always want them. Be excited when they come home. But develop them to leave. Because that's what love does. God's desire is to develop us to be able to stand. Develop us to be able to walk, live, move. Not to stay huddled up. And I want to encourage you. And that's a hard thing. But love will help us to be able to develop them, and don't miss that, to lead. That's why he says here, he spoke about this child, thought of the child, reasoned like a child, but note this is what you're developing them to do. But when I became a man, teach them, moms, to put away childish things. Put it behind them. Verse 12. Now we see, don't miss this, now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror. Then, speaking of when Christ returned, then we shall see face to face. Now we know in part. Then we shall know fully, even as we are fully known. And in verse 13, there are three things that will never fail. Faith, hope, and love. This is best demonstrated for us in the life